number 31, okay. If you don't examine your own error, you may look like practitioner, but not act as one. Therefore, always examining your own error, rid yourself of them. This is the practice of Buddhism. Number 32, if through the influence of disturbing emotions you point out the fault of other Bodhisattva, you yourself are diminished, so don't mention the fault of those who enter the great vehicle. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 33, reward and respect cause us to quarrel and make hearing, thinking and meditating decline. For this reason, give up attachment to the households of friends, relations and benefactors. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 34, harsh words disturb the mind of others and cause deterioration in the Bodhisattva's conduct. Therefore, give up harsh words which are unpleasant to others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 35, habitual disturbing emotions are hard to stop through counteractions. Armed with antidotes, the guard of mindfulness and mental alertness, destroy disturbing emotions like attachment at once as soon as they arise. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 36, in brief, whatever you're doing, ask yourself, what's the state of my mind? With constant mindfulness and mental alertness, accomplish others' good. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 37, to remove the suffering of limitless sentient beings, understand the purity of the three spheres, dedicate the virtue from making and such effort to enlightenment. So 37 finish. Now this is the practice of Bodhisattva. For all who want to train on the Bodhisattva path, I have written the 37 practice of Bodhisattvas, following what has been said by the excellent ones on the meaning of sutras, tantras, and treatises. Do not particularly pleasing to scholars, owing to my poor intelligence and lack of learning, I have relied on the sutras and the words of excellence. So I think these Bodhisattva practices are without error. However, as the great deeds of Bodhisattvas are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence, I beg the excellent to forgive all faults, such a contradiction and non-sequiturs. Through the virtue from this may living beings gain the ultimate and conventional bodhicittas, and thereby became like the protector generosic, to dwell in neither extreme, nor in the world, nor in the peace. This was written from his own and others' benefit by monk Tokme Zangpo, an exponent of scripture and reasoning in a cave in Ngulchu region. So this finished the transmission, right? So first I will we go to the number 35, okay, number 35. disturbing emotions are hard to stop through counteraction. So we have 3 points. First, 3 difficult points. Right? Number 1 is afflictive emotions and disturbing emotions are very, very difficult to recognize. They are wrong thought or wrong view. This is number 1, right? And number 2, afflictive emotions and disturbing emotions, even you recognize, very, very difficult to apply right antidote. You know what I mean? Number 3, difficult is constantly, continually, very, very difficult to be mindful about disturbing emotions and afflictive emotions. These are what we call the 3 difficult training to recognize afflictive emotions. So therefore what we have to do is, so delusion arises, when delusion and disturbing emotion arise, I make 4 points from Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim. So number 1 is any afflictive emotion, identifying the delusions. Number 1. Number 2, the stage in which delusion develop. Number 3, the causes of delusion. Number 4, the fault of delusion. So we have 4 points, how delusion arises. Now to identify the delusions, we need to identify general delusions and specific delusions. What is the general delusion? What is specific delusions? So general delusions and now we have to know what is the definition of general delusion. Right? What is general delusion? So the general definition of delusion is mental factor. It is part of mental factor that when generated cause the mental continuum to be very unpeaceful. So that is the definition of general delusion. Then specific mental factor, okay, what is the general delusion? So general definition of delusion is mental factor that which generated cause the mental continuum to be very unpeaceful. So that is the definition of delusion. Now specific delusion, then when we talk of specific delusion, first 3 poison, then 6 root delusion, then it goes to 20 secondary delusions, then it goes to 84,000 delusions, you know what I mean? First 3 poison, fundamental, ignorance, anger, attachment. Through these 3 poison, 6 delusion arises. Doubt, wrong view, and pride, all this delusion arises. Through 6 delusions, 20 secondary delusion arises. And through that, 84,000 delusions. 100 and something attachment, anger, divided, then all together 84,000. 84,000 delusions arises. So that's the identifying the delusion. So we identify general delusion and the specific delusions. Now, stage which delusion develop. So how delusion, it doesn't come independently, cause and condition. You know, no cause, no result. It comes from cause and condition. So how the stage when delusion develop is this is the Indian great master Dharmakirti said in his valid cognition text. He said, by holding self, we hold others. Through self and others, attachment and aversions arise, and in connection with this, all fault arises, which I'm talking about. 3 poison, 6 root, delusion, 22nd arise because of holding self to be independently, inherently existing from the side of the object, is what we call the false view of transitory collection. This is false view of transitory collection for yourself and false view of transitory collections for others. So your false view of transitory collection is root cause of samsara and delusion. Other people's false view of transitory collection is not root cause of your own samsara. So that means fundamental cause of delusion is fundamental ignorance, not knowing the self nature, not recognizing your own self, which is independent. Every time we see independently, inherently existing from the side of the object. So that is stage which delusion develop. The causes of delusion, right? The causes of delusion, it comes from the cause, right? We are like ordinary plant. We need substantial cause and cooperative cause. To grow fruit or whatever, you need 2 causes. Main cause is substantial cause, which is seed. Cooperative cause, which is fertilizing, water, all these contribute to ripen the seed. So any cause and condition should have 2 main, which is substantial cause and cooperative cause. So similar delusion, the causes of delusion, then there are 6 causes. Number 1 is latency. Number 2 is the object is any sense object that act to stimulate a latency into its expressions as a delusion. Number 3 is being distracted by bad company is a distraction that arises from the associating with deluded people. Number 4 is distracting narration in listening to story that stimulate delusions. Number 5 is familiarities. Number 6 is inappropriate attention. So that is the 6th cause of delusion mentioned in the Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim text. Latency. So latency is, it must have like seed. So no latency, karma will not ripen. To ripen karma, you need delusion to support. Like, so we may plant the seed, karmic seed. If you plant many karmic seeds, no delusion, it will not ripen. Like seed, no fertilizing, no cooperative causes. So any delusion, right, must latency continually carry by mind and imprint left in the mind. So that is imprint, latency, and then delusion help to ripen that seed. So latency is one object. Now we are talking about sensory, 5 sensory object. You know what I mean? Sensory object. So form, smell, taste, and tangible. So according to Vasubandhu, this one form and sound is perceived by sound consciousness and eye consciousness, right? To perceive form, sound consciousness to hear the sound. But he make distinction that when eye consciousness perceive the sound, not necessarily encounter with the object. Long distance you see the mountain. Mountain there you see a long time. Long distance you hear the sound. Right? So these two, eye consciousness and the hearing consciousness, to perceive the object, not necessarily contact the object or encounter the object. Long distance you see, you hear. However, smell, taste, and tangible should be account with the object. You know, you smell, you touch the object. You taste, you touch in your tongue. You know, tangible, you know, like rough or whatever you have touch. So that's the distinction between 5 sensory consciousness, so eye, ear, long distance. But other 3 should be encountered with the object, contact with the object. So therefore, object, sensory object, then all, you know what I mean, delusion arises. Nice food, nice momo, delusion arises, can't control. Then we have this one, big, being distracted by company, you know, then associating with deluded people, you know. Don't make friend with the deluded person, you know. Then you know what, easy. Easy to influence by the, you know, so you know what I mean. Distracting narration in listening like this story over some, you know, or whatever, something, then that causes delusion. Huh? Familiarity. Everybody knows familiarity. If you have very familiarity with something, you know, then it will be a habituation. Right. So that means if you, for example, like if anger arises, so then it will plant a seed in the mind. If you apply right antidote, then you will be able to reduce the seed, or you can minimize the seed, or you can, it depends on the how anger is big or small or whatever, right? So if 3 anger arise, you plant the 3 seed. If 10 anger arise, plant that familiarity, very easy. Any disturbing emotions, to the habituation. So mind plant here, and then it will stuck here, you know. And no antidote, then it will become stronger and stronger. So no control, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. When anger arises, boom, 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 boom. It will explosion like this. And then inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. Is inappropriate attention is, for example, allowing your mind to dwell with attachment, the desirable attributes of an object of attachment. So when any delusion arises, you have to counteract. You have to use the right antidote. Otherwise, they will control your mind. So that's the 6 causes of delusion. Fault of delusion, there are many, but 10 it is mentioned by the Maitreya's text, ornament of the Mahayana Sutra. Number 1, delusion, destroy yourself, destroy others. And number 2, destroy your morality. Number 3, they decrease qualities. Number 4, livelihood. So if you argument with your boss, then you will lose your job, finish your livelihood. You know what I mean? Livelihood. Are despised by Buddha and protectors. Bring argument, disrepute, birth in a place of no leisure, degeneration of attainment and non-attainment, and experience of great suffering. So these are the fault of delusions. So let me say that if you have destroy yourself and others, easy, right? So if you did, no problem. And destroy morality, so you morality. Decrease your qualities, which is all your good knowledge, decrease, and livelihood. And Buddha and Bodhisattvas are despite, bring argument, and you will be born in a place of no leisure, no Dharma teaching. Degeneration of whatever, degeneration of your knowledge, which already have your quality will, and non-attainment, which not yet will not increase, and experience great physical and mental suffering. So these are the now I will point here some important words. So for dedication. Now dedication is there are two things we have to remember all the times: beginning and end. Beginning, motivation, and dedication. Whatever you do, practice should have combined with these two: motivation and dedication. Whatever you practice, motivated by, bodhicitta and compassion, good motivation. And then when you carry this motivation, right, and when you finish the activities, then you have to dedication. So whatever, any practicing Dharma, right now we are discussing here Dharma, so we accumulate huge amount of merit, which is like mass of diamond holding in our hand. And so that we should save that diamond to the safe place. So that means dedication. So because if you lack dedication, so then there are two thieves coming, steal your merit. One is anger, other is wrong view. These two will steal our merit. So therefore, dedication, beginning, motivation, and dedication, whatever we do should have. How we dedicate? We should dedicate all your merit turn into the cause to achieve enlightenment in the future. Those who not generate bodhicitta yet will have bodhicitta in the future. Those who already generated bodhicitta strengthen and increase more and more. So we have to dedicate like this. Then all our merit we will save and it will never lost. Just like Buddha said in the sutra, if you put one drop of water in the ocean, it will remain until ocean remain. So this merit will remain until you become enlightenment. So you will save the merit. So dedication. So that's very important. Now I want to read the translation. So before reading the transmission, I will explain what is really transmission means. It's not tradition in other, we Kilupa, Sakya, Nyingma, all we have transmission and lineage. Any teaching should have transmission and lineage. So it is like transmission is transmission means to clarify the idea of transmission and lineage. We're talking about sutra lineage, tantra lineage, all lineage, right? And the reason it should be uninterrupted continuation. You should take the example of light bulb. Right? So the electricity coming from the main source, central source, which transmitted along with the wire, right? The generator, the source of electricity is like a Buddhahood that's coming from all transmission. In this case, Tokme Zangpo, when he composed this text, till now, continuity, without interruption. The wire that carry the electricity is like the transmission lineage. Transmission lineage. It's like, and the electrical current is like blessing whose energy clarify our practice and enlighten our mind. That's the transmission means. If the wire is cut, right, current cannot pass through it and the bowl cannot produce light. So that transmission is without interruption. Because of transmission and inspirations are not physical, no shape, no color, yet they are continued because of dependent arising, interconnected. Because of the blessing and inspirations from the lineage holy beings, we are make easy to recognize our nature of the mind, make easy to success our practice faster because of previous lineages, transmissions, and blessing contribute to make faster success of practice, whatever we practice. So that's the transmission means. So here This is very popular in Tibet. Expression. Many Lama said, if the son of the disciple faith and devotion is do not strike the snowy mountain of the Lama's blessing, the waves, inspiration that purify impurity won't follow down. So this is very important. So it means you need connection with the lineage lamas, right? So it is. So if we have the disciple faith and devotion do not strike, the snow mountain will not melt if sun not strike. If sun strike, sun, and the snow mountain slowly melting. This is like blessing from Guru, and then your feet, then it's like melting your all the afflictive emotions, negative energy, and easy to improve your practice. You know what I mean? So this is the transmission. When you receive transmission, reading text is different, because as I mentioned before, many high lamas, right? So now I will read the transmissions from beginning. Lee gone or Lee? The 37 Practice of Bodhisattva by Geshe Tokme Zangpo, 1295 and 1369. Homage to our Lokadeshwarya. I pay constant homage through my three doors to my supreme teacher and protector Chandrasik, who, while seeing all phenomena like coming and going, make single-minded effort for the good of living beings. Perfect Buddha, source of all well-being, is happiness, arises from accomplishing the excellent teachings, and these depend on knowing the practices. So I will explain the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 1, having gained the realship of freedom and fortune, hear, think, and meditate unwaveringly night and day in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 2, attach to your loved ones. You are strike up like water, hating your enemies, you burn like fire. In the darkness of confusion, you forget what to adopt, what to discard, give up your homeland. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 3, by avoiding bad objects, disturbing emotions gradually decrease. Without distraction, virtuous activity naturally increase. With clarify of mind, conviction in the teaching arises. Cultivate seclusion. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. 4, love one who have long kept company will part. Wealth created with difficult will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest will leave the guest house of the body. Let go of this life. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 5, when you keep your company, your 3 poisons increase. Your activities of the hearing, thinking, and meditation decline, and they make you lose your love and compassion. Give up bad friends. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 6, when you rely on them, your faith comes to an end, and your good qualities grow like waxing moon. Cherish your spiritual teachers, even more than your own body. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 7, bound himself in the jail of cycle of existence. What worldly God can give you protection. Therefore, when you seek refuge, take refuge in the three jewels which will not betray you. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 8, the subduer said all the unbearable suffering of bad rebirth is the fruit of wrongdoing. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never do wrong. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 9, like dew on the tip of a blade of grass, pleasure of three worlds lasts only a while and then vanish. Aspire to the never-changing supreme state of liberation. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 10, when your mothers who have loved you since time without beginning are suffering, what use in your own happiness? Therefore, to free limitless living beings, develop the altruistic attitude. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 11, all suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness. Perfect Buddha are born from the thought to help others. Therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 12, even if someone out of strong desire steals all your wealth or has it stolen, dedicate to him your body, possessions, and your virtue, past, present, and future. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 13, even if someone tries to cut off your head when you haven't done the slightest thing wrong, out of compassion, take all misdeeds upon yourself. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 14, even someone broadcast all kinds of unpleasant remarks about your thought out the 3,000 world. In return, with a loving mind, speak of good qualities. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 15, though someone may deride and speak bad words about your public gathering, looking on him as a spiritual teacher, bow to him with respect. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 16, even if a person for whom you have cared like your own child regard you as an enemy, cherish him especially like mother does her child who is stricken by sickness. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 17, if an equal of or inferior person disparages you out of pride, place him as you would place your spiritual teacher with respect on the crown of your head. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 18, do you lack what you need and are constantly disparaged, afflicted by dangerous sickness and spirits, without discouragement take on the misdeeds and pain of all living beings. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 19, do you become famous and many bow to you and you gain rich equal to Vaishravanas, see that worldly fortune is without essence and be unconceited. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 20, while the enemy of your anger is unsubdued, though you may conquer external force, they will only increase. Therefore, with the militia of love and compassion, subdue your own mind. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 21, sensual pleasures are like salt water. The more you indulge, the more thirst increases. Abandon at once those things which breed clinking attachment. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 22, whatever appears is your own mind. Your mind, the start, was free from fabricated extremes. Understanding these, do not take to mind inherent sign of subject and object. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 23, when you encounter attractive objects, do they seem beautiful like a rainbow in the summer, don't regard them as real and give up attachment. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 24, all forms of suffering are like child's death in dream. Holding illusory appearances to be true make you weary. Therefore, when you meet disagreeable circumstances, see them as illusory. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 25, when those who want enlightenment must give even their body, there is no need to mention external things. Therefore, without hope for return or any fruition, give generosity. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 26, without ethic you cannot accomplish your own well-being. So wanting to accomplish others laughable. Therefore, without worldly aspiration, safeguard your ethical discipline. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 27, the Bodhisattva who want a wealth of virtue, those who harm are like precious treasure. Therefore, toward all cultivate patience without hostilities. This is the practice of Buddhism. Number 28, seeing even hearers and solitary religious who accomplish only their own good strive as if you put out a fire on their head. For the sake of all beings, make enthusiastic effort, the source of all good qualities. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 29, understanding that disturbing emotions are destroyed by special insight with calm abiding, cultivate concentration which surpasses the four formless absorptions. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 30, since the five perfections without wisdom cannot bring perfect enlightenment, along with skillful means cultivate the wisdom which does not conceive the three spheres as real. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 31, if you don't examine your own error, you may look like practitioner but not act as one. Therefore, always examine your own errors, rid yourself of them. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 32, if through the influence of disturbing emotions you point out the fault of another Bodhisattvas, you yourself are diminished, so don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicles. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 33, reward and respect cause us to quarrel and make hearing, thinking and meditating decline. For this reason, give up attachment to the households of friends, relations and the benefactors. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 34, harsh words disturb the mind of others and cause deterioration in a Bodhisattva's conduct. Therefore, give up harsh words which are unpleasant to others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 35, habitual disturbing emotions are hard to stop through counteraction, armed with the antidote, the guard of the mindfulness and mental alertness. Destroy disturbing emotions like attachment at once as soon as they arise. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 36, in brief, whatever you are doing, ask yourself, what's the state of my mind with constant mindfulness and mental alertness accomplish others' good. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Number 37, to remove the suffering of limitless beings, understand the purity of three spheres. Dedicate the virtue from making such effort to enlightenment. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. For all who want to train on the Bodhisattva path, I have written the 37 practice of Bodhisattva, following what has been said by the excellent one on the meaning of sutra, tantra, and treatises. Though not particularly pleasing to scholars, owing to my poor intelligence and lack of learning, I have relied on the sutra and words of the excellent. So I think these Bodhisattva practices are without error. However, as the great deeds of Bodhisattvas are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence, I beg the excellent to forgive all faults such as contradiction and non-sequiturs. Through the virtue from this, may all living beings gain the ultimate and conventional bodhicitta, and thereby become like the protector generosity, who dwell in neither extreme, not in the whole, nor in the peace. These words written from his own, others benefacted by the monk Tokme, an exponent of scripture and reasoning in cave in Nguchu Rinchen. So completely finished the transmission. Now Tibetan very easy. I can read it. Geshe Langle Sokten Mashu so Namo Lokeshwaraya Kangi Chukun Do Mesigya Dovetunla Chikdo Tsenzepa Lama Choda Chere Sigunla Tado Kusunkube Chasalo Pende Juna Zobe Sangeno Tamje Dule Chunde Teani Ti Lale Shela Ralabe Jase Namje Lale Shebar Cha. Tangbo number 1. Tejo to change to top to dir Dashe Koe Sole Del Chechiri Yinda Sendo Yewa Mebani Yensem Gomba Jase Laglein. Number 2. Yenji Cholo Docha Chudaru Dai Chola Shedam Medaru Langdorjebe Timu Minaje Paye Pon Jase Lane. Number 3. Yunge Pambe Yumo Rimji Dip Namye Mebe Gejo Rangipe Rigbatambe Cholo Mushiji Embatemba Jase Lane. Number 4. Yurin Dobe Zashe Soso de Pebe Dube Nozu Shudu Luju Donga Namshi Dumbopo Sedi Ludan Jase Lane. Number 5. Kanda Tona Tusu Peyushi Tosong Gombe Chawa Nyamjuru Chamda Ningji Mebar Yuchebe Tongen Pomba Jase Lane. Number 6. Tongen Pomba Kangshi Tena Nyeba Segyushin Yunde Yarngu Dadar Peljube Shenye Tamba Rangu Nule de Jebar Simba Jase Lane. Number 7. Raya Kowe Sora Chingbai Jigden Sayu Sushi Kyobarne Eji Kala Kyab Na Meluwe Kuncho Kyabdu Jase Lane. Number 8. Shindo Soge Ngeso Dungan Digbe Leje Devo Tube Teji Sola Pajan Digbe Namya Meche Jase Lane. Number 9. Sisum Dewa Sate Silbashin Yuzam Shiki Jigbe Chujaya Namya Mijo Tarbe Kobancho Tondunyawa Jase Lane. Number 10. Tome Dune Dala Sewa Je Manam Duna Rade Chishicha Teji Taye Simje Dejeji Chanju Simje Jase Lane. Number 11. Dunga Malu Dade Dole Chung Zobe Sanje Shenben Semle Tung Teji Dade Shenje Dunga Yanda Jewa Jase Lane. Number 12. Suda Doje Wange Dage no Tamje Togam Todu Junaya Luda Lodu Tuzunge Wan Telangawa Jase Lane. Number 13. Dala Nyeba Chungse Meshin no Kanda Dage Go Chuche Nang Ninje Wange Ti Digwana Dala Pemba Jase Lane. Number 14. Kashi Dala Minyan Nazoba Tonsung Chabar Doba Chinaya Chambe Simje Laya Tingi Yunde Juba Jase Lane. Number 15. Mangdu Dube Usu Gashigi Sangne Tushin Singin Manaya Dala Geweshigi Dushiji Kubur Duba Jase Lane. Number 16. Dagi Pushi Chabar Jangwe Mi Dala Dashin Tower Chinaya Neji Tabi Pula Mashin Sakbarsewa Jaselani, number 70. Landa Nyamba Membe Keoi, Ngaje Wangi, Nyetap Chenaya, Lama Shudu Kube, Daniji Jo Lemba Jaselani. Number 18. Soe Ponshi Tadu Mi, Tabjena, Dunyi Tabjala, Dugin Digdu Dala Penjaji, Shumba Member Jaselani. Number 19. Nyambar Dashin, Doma, Chivitu, Namde Pui, Noda Topjuja, Sibe Pencho Nimbu Messini, Kengba Member Jaselani. Number 20. Rangi Shedan Dao Maduna, Chiru Dao Tushin Peward, Tiji Chanda Ninja Mabungi, Rangi Durwa Jaselani. Number 21. Dube Yonde Lenze Chudanda, Jidam Cheja Seba Peward, Kala Cheja, Gyuyongubuna, Tela Poa Jaselani. Number 22. Jidranawa Dagi Rangi Simni Dune, Tube Tadanda, Tenye Shende Sunzen Semana Yila Meche Jaselani. Number 23. Yudon Yuda Tebana, Yaji Tuchi Jadun Chishindo, Zebranaya, Debra Midaji Shinja Poa Jaselani. Number 24. Another Melon Pushida, Tuna Dembersu Atache, Tijir Mitwin the Tebe, the Chubartawa Jaselani. Number 25. Chanju Dube, Luja, Tanduna, Chirungobon Nala Mejugu, Tijel, Namin Mireve, Jimbatowa Jaselani. Number 26. Tudim Meba, Randu Minum Nashunda Duba Deba, Gemene, Tiji Sibi Duma Mebai, Sudum Soa Jaselani. Number 27. Kewe Longje Dube, Jasela, Nuje Tamje, Rijetatatum, Tiji Kola, Shede Mebai, Sobagumba Jaselani. Number 28. Rangdun Bashi Dube, Nyaraya, Gola, Meshur Total, Duntona, Dogun Tundu, Yunden June, Jutundu, Somba Jaselani. Number 29. Shinera Do Dembel Hadonga, Nimon number Juba, Shechene, Sume Shile Yamba Deva, Samde Gumba Jaselani. Number 30. Shera Mena Chiru, of Shera Mena Paji, Paru Chingai, Zobe, Chanju Toba Minube, Tabda Deshi Kursu Minube, Shera Gumba Jaselani. Number 31. Rangi Tuba, Rangi Madana, Chubi Suji, Chumin Chesibe, Tiji Gundu, Rangi Tubala, Tane Poa Jaselani. 32. Nimu Wangi Jase Shendagi, Nyeba Lena, Danyi Nyamjurbe, Tewa Chela Shube, Kathagi, Nyeba Mima, Jaselani. 33. Nigu Wangi, Pendu Tujuju, Tuzangome, Chawa Nyamjurbe, Zashi Kimna, Jinda Kimna, Chakba Poa Jaselani. 34. Sume Sigi Shenzim, Tugushin, Javesiji, Jutul Nyamjurbe, Tiji Shenji Yidu Miowe, Sizupo Jaselani. 35. Nimogona Nimbe, Dogawe, Tenshi Jibi Nimbe, Sensune, Chauson Nimo, Tamu Kema, the Burjum Chemba Jaselani. 36. Dona Kanto Cholam Chicheja, Rangi Semji Nekab, Chitashi, Jundu Tenda Shishin Demba, Shinduba Jaselani. 37. Teta Zumbe Dube Gewano, Taye Dube, Dunga Sejojo, Kusun Nabatabe Shero, Chanjungo Jaselani, Doji Tenjo Namla Sumbut, Tamba Namje Sungi Jerana, Jase Namje Lale Sumjudu, Jase Lamla Lubdu, Tunduku, Lodu Meji, Jamba Chuji, Keba Cheben, Deju Machija, Doda Tambe, Sola Tembechi, Jase Lale Tube, Lakbarsem, Wenja Jase Chuba Labjena, Lomen Dade, Tingba, Kavichi, Gelda Made, Lasso Nyebet, Tambanam Jusubal Dedu Sur. Tedra Juve, Gave Duagun, Tundam Kundu, Chanju Semjuki, Sida Shive, Talamin, Jeresigu, Teta Sumbashu, Cheba, Shela Pembetu, Lunda Ribe Wanju, Tong Meji, Muchu Rijetu to Jao, finish. Okay. Finish the transmission now.